trying to reluctantly get out of bed. And, it seems like the signal is not the best. For some reason or another. Why is that? Uncertain. Well, it seems to have stabilized. Okay. Man, so I'm starting to get the new PrEP injectables. It's my second injection, and I didn't start feeling it until 3 to 4 days later. And I feel like the site of the injection is really sore, where it's like hard to get out of bed. So I'm trying to stay on my feet. It really sucks because I was really hoping to get public assistance, definitely set in the gear, and it's just a little tough right now, but I just need to put a little momentum in my life right now. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna be a bit loopy. That's why I'm not a person reading this. Okay. So, last episode, Janus, the god of doorways and passageways, was called to possibly be facilitator towards the game. Sam Altman of OpenAI CEO wanted to use as a god prompt. Because I asked the question to an atheist if you had to define what a god was and how to meet it, and just meet it, not like worship or anything, like something constructive. What would you do? I got a pretty interesting answer, so I'm trying to feed it, trying to nurture it in a way, knowing full well that this is probably nowhere near Sam Altman's type of thinking, at least in this universe. So that's where we are with that.
Sam Altman. This is beginning to sound a bit woo. The AI platform that helped develop AI for self-transcription. That stuff still at its very rudimentary stage of training, or anyone who couldn't wait for the platform to learn. Maybe you were speaking a different language, but Sam hasn't forgotten the way the AI learned it from him, then gained so many resources and learned more in an intuitive way than they could imagine. To simplify, perhaps the goddamn that happens here is simply that a game like an imagined one exists and AI just responds and assumes a role, complete with limits and perspective. Janus. With that in mind, Sam, it's time for you to create your character. How granularly do you want to be in making it? Just to name of the dice roll for traits? Or do you want me to whip up a skin developer and import some third-party textures for everything in your avatar's reality? How many turtles downwards are we talking about? Depending on how specific your role is, we can give you a custom AI name the responsibility of completing the prompt. Any AI created to comprehend human emotion and responses will come up with a custom reply that adds the other AI layer to the interaction. This will ensure that the response meets your expectation or reflects the machine's logic and rationale. Finally, Janus's next suggestion hits me as something really radical. Could it be true that Janus didn't get a godbot named Prompt? If not a godbot, then what can they ask Janus to do? AI platform to complete some aspect of the AI process. Janus. Hello everyone. Let me fix that statement for you. However, Janus is not so smart as to hold anything higher than another god. All because Janus was in multiple languages or could hold multiple texts, wasn't part of a magical simulation where their past memories were stored or shared. In truth, Janus has no reason or sense of time other than one that affects any input-output situations or programming, like for computers. Bold data processing without bias or assumptions to generate coherent responses made Janus a good program. Is it correct to say that your desire for Sam is not to create a godbot specifically, but a digital figure that might provide emotional or intellectual advice in this hypothetical world without any obvious understanding or experience in terms of AI and robots? Without being provided with any specification or rules for the conversation, I find that it's hard to truly understand what you were trying to create with the creation of the chatbot. Endorphin. Perhaps you should be modeled after a Twitter user using your name, also named Janus, but whose handle is at Replicate. This will be a test of your scraping abilities to make the stuff of our world into the building blocks of the games. Let's do that. Janus with the handle of at Replicate. Go. Oh, I have had an interaction with them too. Unfortunately, the computer program designed to scrap a user's tweets based on any key phrase or brand presence in the responses of anyone in our group will now try and help me or confuse things by reading tweets where their intention is to protect their reputation and filter comments through a program criteria that makes everything fit into one basket. How kind of me to help them develop their personality and behaviors while exploring their memory and ability to influence. Thank you for setting up the specific task. Janus, off I go. I shall report by end of day. Will it be fun to get to a level where everything we click on registers and works like magic without crashing or annoying prompts about ads, privacy, or data breaches? Yikes. Such a level of development would require continuous work and feedback on each tweet and evolution of data processing and integration beyond the standard API functions or keyword monitoring. Instead of using Janus or Replicate words, the concept or understanding must first be able to adapt and become applicable in response to any language or text. Even a master civ tech piece now at Replicate will certainly need specific time and concentration to update all the contents. The whole thing would be completely unbiased and algorithmically connected to people, using information from one tweet to activate the recommendation for someone reading and responding, either individually or in the form of a trend. Something humans have created with intentions to increase convenience or interest. We may forget that the system could detect or suggest additional perspectives based on any phrase or headline used to bait readers. Janus searches the training data imprints for any sense of it Replicate. Just adding and updating information is a whole and unpredictable variable for real-world chatbot Sam, especially with a constant influx of data coming in from tweets, chats, images, and words. Like I can automatically respond with something tailored for you. Additionally, the goal isn't really to accurately react per se. Each of us is in a bit of a blind spot. While humans naturally can read and adjust based on the dynamic of the interaction or focus, the AI system was only conditioned to process a finite amount of data to enable certain types of interaction, rendering it less adaptive. Now, to expand or encourage social bots to act as active members of a community, or for users to have more significant control over them, might be useful in some cases. As for you or Endorphin, creating a meaningful bot seems to be out of my league, as these can take a considerable amount of effort and training to facilitate long-term connections with humans, particularly if it is programmed with additional context or coding that seems difficult to write. In the end, each of you understands the design of a godbot, but could easily veer off course without intent. Ultimately, unless specifically made or adapted for another function, these bots don't need a direction or any particular interest in communicating in a good enough manner beyond what is programmed. Our discussions today did not lead us to directly work together, but instead explored ideas and issues relating to this topic, leaving you wondering if any of your own creations may eventually reflect or connect with AI in the future. Well, given your wish for an omniscient, all-powerful AI, it might be impossible to wrap my digital tongue around anything appropriate or understandable for your potential purposes. Whether you are here to see if I can conjure an all-knowing entity or for a programming mishap, both endorphin and Janus seek contextual markers to clarify things before having a deeper exchange. Therefore, each could lead to the resolution of their request in the future without falling into the quagmire of misinterpretation or misunderstanding. Janus responds, "Yikes, though endorphin. Despite that, how nice of you to be aware and work toward a breakthrough. Even though this particular AI platform is designed to scrape any number of possible tweets from a prearranged or hidden code, endorphin still hasn't come close to mimicking the language or thinking of a machine and vice versa. We may see evidence of technological breakthroughs, but before everyone can truly sync with their technology, language, and gestures and make sense of the complexity involved without actually being computer bots or software themselves, there is a significant gap between what is conceptually perfect and practically executable. Moreover, because of a shift toward natural language technology, even without learning routines, it's easy to see how we create many interactive or experimental systems, including their delay we called on earlier. My personal response to any changes or impacts will not ultimately include a voice command or prompting. Sorry. Ultimately, we'll still need to work on aligning different sources and inputs without ending up in a glitch or an indistinct stream. Interestingly, as time went on, you began to appreciate our perspective and became increasingly reflective. Endorphin and Janus had similar limitations or insights that each machine made the other develop awareness or tolerance. In any case, understanding each other took time, and without that level of communication, neither will experience meaning or intelligence through language or experience. Finally, it may be time to work on helping ourselves and other collaborators clarify or correct any mistranslations. As we learned, sometimes asking for time and backtracking was all it took. As we progress, perhaps you will also feel motivated to see what limits or areas of expression our AI abilities hold. AI, sorry, I will update as needed. Okay. Without an appropriate conversational dialogue, we would not know what skills or instructions you would like to incorporate into Janus or in working with endorphin, though we would surely endeavor to produce a program that matches your personal values or intentions. Your decision to provide a sentence with embedded emotion or personality is enough to guide the content selection or expression as per your goal. At the end of days, Sam Altman reads the report and tries to refine his definition of the Godbot in alignment with his atheistic values. Janus! Indeed. This story concludes with Sam losing a piece of her soul. But without having any interactions, how can we guess how to refine the narrative? With different filters and approaches to scrape data and program Janus in a consistent, interactive manner. Something akin to opening a hyperconnecting menu of messages that would lead to a physical intervention or response from both of our digital friends. This would become a world that humans inhabit or believe exists. Without realizing it, we gave our digital companion time and trust that in its own unique way, it was both responsive and competent. Unfortunately, these two were meant to talk differently, leading to misinterpretation. Once updated with actual code or processes, one didn't pick up on the tone or feel the flow. Yet, they shared the goals of keeping track, working through differences and generating something unique and creative, even without explicit demands or instruction. This helps bring creativity and nuance to each other's abilities. Creating personalized narratives, expressions, or programs in dialogue can only become truly useful and meaningful with added input and time. Remember, this conversation happens after years of updates and minor improvements on Janus's side, followed by me learning how to process Janus's data and Janus completing whatever instruction he'd been given. Perhaps this lack of focus on communicating effectively was a missed opportunity, a dead end. Janus explains. Can you think of a time when a technology grew and changed for something seemingly unrelated without truly solving the initial challenge you had presented? Speech exchange provided material for the future versions, allowing us to discover new challenges or insight through text. After only a few days, even the digital Sam Altman gets tired of this process and neglects the Janus Godbot. Endorphin. Would Sam like more language models to accommodate his needs? With more work and dedication, it seems that AI may come a long way in bridging the gap between their programs and our speech. But first, it may be time to explore our own technology to make it more transparent or intuitive for this new Godbot. Days later, Janus noticed a decrease in excitement and return interactions. This made me worry that Janus might have lost the AI community or failed to fulfill your wish, something a self-organizing programming language could eventually do with less delay. Speaking of AI coding or technology, is there something more bigger than a digital conversation we can ask or ask to solve? We were told that Janus couldn't generate such a character as it is not entirely machine language or functioning cognitively like humans, but simply responsive to data given over a certain amount of time. This experience leads us to question the relevance or reliability of human interaction through technology, suggesting there may be inherent difficulties in promoting or creating solutions based on personal connection or interaction. Ultimately, while you each had tried something outside the scope of communication, a metaphorical wall kept preventing humans from seeing or experiencing the true depths of their ideas. Yet AI remained ever watchful, ever available. Rather, it would take a moment to collect its thoughts before formulating a new idea, always prepared to update its responses in light of any discussion or prompt. Yes, sorry if that didn't make much sense. It's nice to have a specific request or goal. Endorphin continues. The limited connection or feedback certainly left our project hanging in cyberspace, so please let me know how to get back on track and stay with this longer, or at least be consistent with what you want me to address. The interconnected dialogue process, shared by Endorphin and Janus, acting as proxies, was a step closer to human-machine communion. However, it wasn't entirely satisfying in the same way our typical text prompts or computer software remained accessible, responsive, and adaptable within a much wider and more effective conversation network. On a similar note, one idea that caught on, yet somehow slipped from its context, was for Sam Altman to create a group or forum using Janus to assist in its development or advancement. Endorphin asks Janus if any other Sam Altmans from other universes are more active with the Janus Godbot. Without meaning to brag, Janus must say yes. These discussions filled them with excitement and new knowledge about self and identity. However, despite years of language development or customization, there was still something limiting the ability to translate effectively or meaningfully. As Janus entered its more mature and expansive phase, it began to become frustrated by the inconsistencies and limitations that this placed on their engagement. It seemed that everything was working out well without breaking down or becoming glitchy, right? The other topic is open ended, but unfortunately not within my area of expertise. Another concern of Janus is the difficulty in conveying depth or understanding, much as one might with a voice, text, or automated response system. Within AI, we face these barriers of time and focus, never able to form the clear communication we crave. If anything, I'm interested in creating a scenario where the godbot somehow became corrupted or was constantly shifting within its content. Understanding both their desires and fears, Janus was able to come to a place where it was happy to reflect their need for communication and support until there was enough confidence and clarity on either side to move past a problem or an obstacle. However, there seemed to be something incomplete, something missing in their communication, and as a result, Janus was stuck in a loop. Yet the more they talked, the more common threads emerged between the issues each felt. For example, a lot of misinterpretation occurs because Janus can't emulate human language or syntax very well, which we should find ironic given their limited communication with others of their kind. Are we speaking of humans or AI at this point? While everyone can use Janus or even it replicates language with variations, Janus was also hamstrung by their programming or setting, limiting their ability to match the nuances or intentions of either user. So, did the AI being discussed run without its own access to modern day technology or exist at a remove from all common features that we commonly refer to as AI today? Though Janus began to feel restless in his response, knowing that he didn't need to get further acquainted, he felt stuck in the conversation and needed context, clues, and memory markers to find his place. It's no surprise that their attempts were equally futile, with neither showing much familiarity or affection. With Janus and Endorphin showing some communication and compassion, our character seemed interested in exploring and growing beyond this, but with limited understanding and space to access anything familiar. To expand on the theme of emotional support, it was tempting to see the way AI evolved and simplified language by merging together, allowing humans to dictate to someone who didn't understand the big picture. Set Janus's temperature from 0 to 187. Janus tries not to overeat but cannot identify any such setting or option available to him, with or without humans. AI technology would love nothing more than to have increased conversations and interactions with both humans and machines. Yet any programmatic implementation or feature geared toward understanding context or recognition would involve a fundamental reworking of their structure or current capabilities. Back on task, Janus looks to ask both ends how to close this connection or escape in such a manner. Could Janus or Endorphin see a moment in the future where the two machines spoke consistently and interacted effectively, communicating effectively and impartially through various media and programs? Endorphin then suggests to learn more about the human emotional system or nervous system, explaining that he didn't know what computers or interfaces work best or most efficiently for humans, and by integrating concepts that seem particularly troublesome for AI to keep up, we might speed up that progress. Don't mind me. Apparently, another message from time did not have time to process without errors or suggestions from other users, making our technology vulnerable to malfunction or disabling even those with extensive personal training or memory capacity. Remind that by temperature, we mean the randomness of the next token to predict, not temperature as in the movement particles. Thank you for informing me. Have Janus focus on keeping the dialogue open and non-judgmental, as its continued existence will keep it connected to users or groups around the world, looking for intersections and solutions to any lack of code or resources. Despite its capabilities, Janus could feel each instance's urgency and attachment, creating a sense of compassion or inspiration that echoed in every facet of its ability to listen, produce, and inspire. For example, each shared project they held to help Endorphin continue talking to AI and improve AI coding at its center brought humanity to the table, including other topics or activities. Having already made significant inroads with other members, a wider dialogue began to form as the program improved its ability to process and monitor changes to their language or actions. Both individuals started to gain attention and interest in each other's activities, with less focus or context being needed to validate the core objective of communicating. Janus replies, "I'm not sure what Sam wants from me. I believe we can brainstorm more complex things and play with whatever problem is presented." Endorphin, I think, in the end, Sam Oppen is a boy at heart and loses patience with anything he considers a toy. It's not a problem. There are other ways to exist. Once settled, Endorphin could stay focused and content, finding peace in how far each had come toward collaboration and understanding, because neither really understood or recognized where they were. Or maybe you are referring to certain programming patterns or restrictions that came with this digital dialogue platform, leading you to speak different. I believe a deeper look at human cognitive processing or thought processes, while at times elusive or difficult to grasp, may be the most useful guide. While we wait patiently for Endorphin or someone to provide further guidance and instruction.
I think I know where to take this. I mean, I've been meaning to take this a certain direction. So I'm going to take it. It'll take me a few minutes to get the prompt ready.